I am Computer 3 NCSU. As many of you know, my name is Catherine. I also go by Cat, but really don't mind if you would like to call me either one. Many of you have also already seen my face via webcam, email pictures, Facebook, MySpace, but I'm still getting quite a few requests to do an official I Am video, so here it is. As everyone knows, Heart Gold Soul Silver set comes out next Wednesday. I'll be going to the pre-release, at least I plan to go, this Sunday in my city. Well, an hour away, but in my city. And then I have already pre-ordered my booster box, which should come in hopefully no more than a week after the release date. So I was thinking of doing a different style of video where I actually show my face while I'm opening cards so that you can see how excited I am about a card that I just got, rather than just hearing about it. So that's my motivation for finally getting around to doing an I Am video. So a little bit about my Pokemon history. I got into Pokemon about 10 years ago when I was in 7th grade. My dad found a Jungle Venonat card in the parking lot at a restaurant and gave it to me. And after a few weeks of just hanging on to it and looking at it and reading it over, I decided that I wanted a few more of them. So we went to Walmart, and at that time Pokemon was still really big. You couldn't find them in the main part of the store. You had to go all the way back to customer service. They were completely sold out of booster packs, but Base Set 2 had just come out, and they were still selling theme deck boxes. So this was my, if I remember right, my first theme deck box, a Psych Out box from Base 2. And I played the game once or twice with my dad, and really didn't get into playing the game. And I didn't have any friends that liked Pokemon, so I didn't have anyone to really play with, but I still really liked the look of the cards. So I still couldn't buy booster packs, so I had to keep buying theme deck boxes, which were fine, but I knew there were so many other cards out there, and I just couldn't get a hold of them. So my mom let me open an eBay account, and I started buying bulk lots of cards, and that's when I found that you can get cards a lot cheaper online, like on sites like eBay in bulk lots, than you can in the stores. So that's kind of how I got started into it. When I was about in 9th or 10th grade, I got out of Pokemon, and while I don't really remember the reason, I figure it's probably because that's about the time that I started saving up money to buy a car. I was going to get my license in a couple of years. I knew I was also going to go to college in a few years as well, and I needed to save up a lot of money for tuition and expenses that are college related, and so I just really didn't have the money to spend on Pokemon. So I got out of it. I got back into Pokemon almost a year ago, and I got back into it because of a kitten I had at the time named Nura. She was a special needs kitten who was born with something called congenital hydrocephalus, and basically that's when the brain produces too much fluid and it puts pressure on all sorts of lobes of the brain and just throws everything out of whack. So she had everything from seizures, walking problems, she was blind, she just had a whole slew of problems. And at the time, she needed to have a shunt surgery, which was going to cost about $5,000. I definitely didn't have that much money, so I knew I needed to sell some stuff. So I went down to the basement, pulled up my old Pokemon collection that I had amassed over several years, and I hadn't just collected cards. I had collected everything from toys, books, Burger King promotional toys. I've literally filled up boxes and boxes of all this Pokemon stuff. So I started selling it all, and when I got to the cards, I just really couldn't part with all of them. They brought back too many fond memories, so I sorted out one of every card and sold a few hundred of the duplicates. And after I sold about that many, we had a change in plans, determined that my kitten would no longer be getting the surgery. It was going to be way too risky for her, anesthetic, seizure-wise, all sorts of factors played into that. But I had already pulled out all my Pokemon stuff, and the more I looked at the cards, the more I kind of wanted to get back into it, because since I knew that they had continued publishing cards since I had quit. So I went on Craigslist, and I found a guy that was selling his collection of about 4,000 cards for about $100, and you know, I had made quite a lot of money selling the rest of my Pokemon card collection, so I used a little bit of that to buy these cards. And the cards ranged from probably the original base set. There were some really old cards up until the Diamond and Pearl, the base set Diamond and Pearl set. So there were, I mean, just imagine I had stopped collecting when Genesis came out. So there were over a dozen sets that I had never seen before. All these Pokemon that I hadn't seen before. So that pretty much got me hooked. I kept buying more and more bulk lots, really trying to collect every card and get, really trying to complete sets. And I realized that this was almost impossible. I was buying huge lots of cards and ending up with the majority of those lots being duplicates and not needing them. So I started to look online for ways to trade my duplicates for cards that I actually needed. And the first site I came across was Trade Cards Online. I still trade on Trade Cards Online today. They've got a great matching system, and I've probably traded with a lot of different people from different countries around there as well. And we're able to look up lists of actual cards that they have. After a few months of trading on there, I learned about YouTube through a user there and started looking at the YouTube site for more people to trade cards. And I didn't really get a great start on YouTube. I got scammed by Dragonite vs. Alakazam. My first trade there on Pokesonic, she never sent her cards. And so I was really getting a little frustrated, but I stuck with it, and soon I was meeting excellent traders like 19 Charizard and Abiroar, and they're still great friends to this day, and I am really excited to be a part of this great Pokemon community. This is one of my youngest cats, Apollo. He's a little over a year old, and he also has a fraternal twin brother named Poseidon, who you will see next. He is called our mother cat because we often bring home small kittens to foster throughout the weekends before we can find them a home. And he is the only one of the 4 cats we have that is interested in playing or cleaning the kittens, or just doing those types of motherly instinct things that mother cats do with their babies. This is Poseidon. He is the fraternal twin brother of Apollo. And while he is typically my most cuddly cat, for some reason he does not want to cuddle at the moment. The other cats are running around the house playing, so I think he kind of wants to do the same. But he is named Poseidon, like Apollo, after the Greek gods, the Greek mythological gods. Apollo was the sun god, so that's why we named the orange tabby Apollo. And Poseidon was the god of the sea. So if you take a look at him, he's got this kind of blue-gray fur with splashes of white, and he kind of reminds me of like the ocean when it, he runs away. The ocean as it kind of curls over and the white foam that sprays up. This is my oldest cat, Hermie. She is about 5 years old. She was adopted from the clinic probably about 6 months after I started working there. She was a feral cat at the time. She was only about 4 to 6 months old, and a dog had tried to eat her, and the dog's owner managed to pry her little body from the dog's mouth and turn her over to the vet clinic. And soon after that, after she was all healed up, I adopted her. Because she was a feral kitten, she still is pretty skittish. She really doesn't like to be held very often. This is Sprout. She is about 4 years old, and she's probably my most talkative cat. I also adopted her from the clinic. A dog got a hold of her as well when she was only a couple of days old. So she was bottle-fed as a baby, and we call her our bottle-fed brat. These are my shelves that house all of my Pokemon binders. The top shelf has all of my complete sets, as well as Pokemon and other cards that are available for trade or sale. And then the bottom shelf has all of my in-progress sets, with each binder holding anywhere from 4 to 6 sets, and then the last binder has a lot of promo sets in there. I also had a request for my favorite Pokemon card, and while it's difficult for me to choose one card, it would probably have to be Blaine's Charizard. And this particular card, if you can see without the glare, is a first edition Gym Challenge card. I actually pulled this out of a booster pack from a first edition challenge booster box. So it's got a little bit of sentimental value, as well as just being a very awesome and hard to find card.